Hey everybody, my name is Jay. Welcome to the Midweek Meta Report, where all of your Hearthstone hopes and dreams come true. Just kidding. Unless you are a Paladin enjoyer, then everything is coming up roses for you. So we did not do this series of videos for the past couple of weeks because the new expansion was, very, very new last week. Just came out in one day. And a couple of weeks before that, the meta was still very stagnant because there wasn't any new cards. But lots of cool things are happening right now, and I'd like to go over a few of it. Just some of first initial thoughts. We've had Showdown in the Badlands for 1 week now, 1 week and a couple of hours, so let's talk about it. I'm sure everybody has seen that Paladin is the top right now. Lots of things to discuss about Paladin. I do have some decks to suggest to you. I will leave the deck codes in the descriptions. This is not your traditional budget decks video list that I normally do. This is for everyone. So this is whether you have the dust or not. There's some options for you to be able to climb. Paladin, Hunter, Demon Hunter. Look, Demon Hunter went up. Demon Hunter has been way, way low on the totem pole in terms of win rates for a while now. So it's interesting to see that Demon Hunter's moving back up. Priest and Rogue and Death Knight are still lower. You would think with all the Highlander decks being played where you can only have one of each card, you would think that Plague Death Knight would be huge. It's good, but it's not amazing. I'm a little sad about it, but let's go over several things. If we're looking at some of the tier lists, this is very exciting. Look at this. Tier 2, above 50%. There's a lot of decks you could play, a lot of classes you could play. There's so much that you can play with right now. Cool thing is the meta's brand new, so it's still developing. So you'll see a lot of fluctuations. Probably in the next couple of weeks, this list will be a little bit lower with the amount of decks to be played, but it's still interesting. One of the things we're going to talk about is Paladin. Paladin is crazy, crazy busy right now. This is bronze through gold. If we go and we just click on Platinum, it's Aggro Paladin, Showdown Paladin. If we go to Diamond, it's the same thing. Aggro Paladin, Showdown Paladin. Let's go to Legend. Aggro Paladin, Showdown Paladin, and Enrage Warrior right there. Tier 1. Top of the heap. And the reason why Enrage Warrior goes up once you get to Legend is because the worst matchup for Aggro Paladin is Enrage Warrior. So makes perfect sense. You have so much different decks and different archetypes being played during the lower rank ranges that once it gets higher up to where you're hitting Legend, High Legend, Diamond 4 through 1, you'll start seeing like 2 or 3 decks. Because listen, you're either, when you're playing Diamond or you're playing Legend, you're either playing Paladin or you're playing Enraged Warrior to fight Paladin. Look at this too. If we go through classes on Legend right now, everything else is just super low. Yeah, there's a little bit of Aggro Demon Hunter, there's a little bit of Dragon Druid or what have you, but nothing compared to Aggro Paladin, Paladin as a whole. Let's talk about Aggro Paladin. The cool thing, well, there's 2 things about this. One's cool, one's not so much or whatnot. The great news about this is if you want to climb the ladder, regardless of where you are, you can play a Paladin deck right now for only 5,320 dust. There is a very good shot of you playing without spending an arm and a leg and second mortgaging your house. What's interesting about this is this deck list does not have any new cards. This one does. Hi-Ho Silverwing is the only new card from the newest expansion that is in this deck. You could get away with playing this deck without using any of the new cards. That's interesting. Good, bad, we don't know yet, obviously. But listen, do I think that Paladin's probably going to have some balance changes. That's probably the first thing I'm going to think of when I'm thinking of balance changes, if there are any. I'm not saying there should be any right now. I think Paladin might have a little bit of some nerfing going on. So aggro Paladin's really cool. It's just, listen, it's build up a board as small as possible, and it doesn't matter what you're building up. You have 1/1 cards in here. You have 2/1 cards in here. You can grab Silver Hand recruits. Katori Lightblade is great. It's a low mana card, and when you cast a holy spell on it, cast it again on another friendly minion. You've got Boogie Down. If you can grab the Finale, it gains taunt for those two. Muster for battle, summon 3 1/1 Silver Hand recruits. You're trying to work with Katori Lightblade. You're trying to work with Keeper's Strength. Using those spells on Katori also gets your other minions that are on the board super high. And then Countess, obviously. Countess is an amazing card. I've talked about it many times before. Horn of the Windlord is just an amazing card. Whatever's on the board, you hit it with your weapon, and it's going to turn into a 3/3 regardless of what it is. And then obviously there's Garden Grace. Costs 1 less for each mana you spent on holy spells this game. So when you're ready to play this to do some really big swingy turns, you'll be able to play this set for a lower cost. I'll leave a code to the deck in the description below. Next one that I wanted to talk about is Showdown Paladin. Also super low, 5,000, 6,000, 5,000 dust, 50, 60. The win rates on this are pretty high. It's right up there. It goes all the way through, 55.48% across the board. I just did Legend, but you could do Diamond, 57. You could do Platinum, 60. So look, it's pretty high. Look at that. Silver. It's got a 73.21% win rate. Bronze through gold, it goes down a little bit. Listen, if you're playing silver right now and you're looking for something, and look, the worst matchup is Plague Death Knight. Wonder why that is. Maybe because you're putting neutral cards in with the Plague. Yeah, that would be why. So Showdown is essentially a Paladin deck, obviously, but it's got Blood Matriarch Liadrin. That's a good card. I like it. After you summon a minion with less attack in this, give it its Divine Shield and Rush. It's a very good card for you to do something on the board. High-Hoed Silverwing. I like this card. It's got Divine Shield. And then the Death Rattle is drawing a Holy Spell, which you will need. Prismatic Being, deal 3 damage to all enemies. Yeah, Sea Giant costs 1 less for each. I don't see any type of like OTK, win condition in this whatsoever, but it does look cool. And Showdown is a really cool card. Both players summon 3/3 outlaws, get 3/3 outlaws. Give yours Rush. It's pretty cool to beat up the board, especially if the board on your opponent's side is very full. It's a good deck. It's a huge win rate. Look at the Blood Death Knight. Against the Blood Death Knight in silver, it's 89.92%. They're just giving away free wins if they're playing Blood Death Knight. Next up, Mining Warlock. I don't hate Mining Warlock, but I don't know if it's 100% set up right now. There's a lot of options here. It's a 55.7% win rate, but it goes to 46 once you're at Legend. It goes to 47. So this is going to last you till about Platinum. It'll start going lower on the win rates. I don't know how long it will last you, and the worst matchup is Aggro Paladin. So this deck gets smoked on Paladin. Also, I was playing this for a little bit. It also gets a little bit smoked with Rainbow Mage and Mage type decks that I saw personally. Yeah, the win rates on that is not that great. I haven't seen a Spooky Mage, so I can't even tell you. But yeah, it's not that great to fight one of those types of decks. So the Mining Warlock is pretty simple. You're trying to work to get the excavations done, and you're going to use Tram Conductor Jerry or Gary. I can't remember what it is. I apologize. Summon 6 3/3 Tram cars with Rush. You've got Darkon Dragthier. You got a lot of cool cards in here. The cool thing is, like I said, this is not a super expensive deck as well. Around 5,000-6,000 dust, you've got some games to play. But again, once you get further along, you're going to have to move around. This deck will last you bronze through gold through platinum, but once it hits platinum, it's not going to be that great. And like I said, worst matchup, Aggro Paladin, 34.8%. You're not going to go far if you see a lot of Aggro Paladins. Dragon Druid will be the next deck. I like this deck. I have not played a lot of it. I was very excited when the expansion was announced and saw all the cards are coming out because Dragon had so much potential. And the cool thing is, this is not a very high cost deck. I love it. 4,200 dust for a 66.9% win rate. That's very, very cool. You go ahead and go through, let's see, win rate right now, 59.83%, and then it's still at 51 at Diamond. It's still at 49 at 76. So again, when you run into these situations where you're going past Diamond 4 or something like that, you'll start seeing a lot more Paladins, and the worst matchup is Paladins. But Dragon Druid decks, it's pretty simple. You're putting dragons on the board, you're using your dragon synergy to do other things to your board or your opponent's board, and then you've got 5 the Setting Sun, which is a rush, lifesteal, and taunt. Costs 1 less for each dragon you summon this game, so it could be super low, and then it has the ability to just increase your total life after it's been hit a whole bunch of times in the face. You got Malagos in here. I love this card. Draw spells until your hand is full. So anything that you're looking for in terms of spells, you will be able to get. And then look, you've got Snapdragon. You've got Amber Whelp. All of these are battle cries. Draw one, choose one. Draw a beast or discover one with Peaceful Piper. So these cards are really cool. Summer Flower Child, I always try to keep in my hand because to draw 2 cards that cost 6 or more so I can get those cards that I want to. You throw this in your hand and then you'll be able to see it much quicker if you have it in your hand to play. Last up, for the decks that I'm going to talk about, Rainbow Mage. I like Rainbow Mage. My wife loves Rainbow Mage. She is kicking my butt with this deck. There's several options. It's not super high cost. It's between 6,600 dust and, 12,000 dust if you want to go all bougie on us and everything like that. But the win rate is 53.8%, and it stays like that for a while. So you're pretty much good getting through this all the way to Legend. It's a very good versatile deck. It could fight anything. It's great against Highlander Priest. It's not that great against Enraged Warrior, but that doesn't mean it's terrible against Enraged Warrior. Yes, you will lose some games with Enraged Warrior based on the matchup data that they're coming up with, but this does not mean you will lose every time you play against a warrior. It's a good deck. And listen, Rainbow Mage is this. It's just a whole bunch of spells and a whole bunch of opportunity for you to get different spells that are not in your deck. With Infinitize the Maxitude, it's a great card. You keep on doing it. If you do Finale, you've got it right. Sif is a great card. Wisdom of Norganon. Elemental Inspiration. That card has to go in your deck, and you have to play it way after you've done all of the cards that you've been playing and all the spells that you've been playing. It's a great deck. Lots of things that you can tech in this deck. There is Reno Rainbow Mages. There is one of this has I think it's Grandmaster Ramoth in here. So your spells will repeat every time that you've played. There's so much here that you can deal with and have fun doing it. And then anything your opponent puts on the board, you usually can set up a counter within that turn or the next turn. So it's a good, versatile deck that you can play with. It's very strong against all. If we look at the matchups too, the matchups are great. Great against Death Knight. It's not that great against aggro Demon Hunter only because it's aggro. But look, it's not too bad against aggro Paladin. It's not too bad against Highlander. It's very good against Mining Mage, Control Priest, Control Warrior. It is a good deck to play, and it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. To go over some card statistics right now, I just pulled the last 7 days of data. Rank Standard. I'm not messing around with the rank rage. I just did Bronze through Gold. We can change it if we need to, but we're not going to. The most played card right now is Kobold Miner. It makes perfect sense because you're using this to excavate your treasures. and excavate is the newest, latest and greatest keyword. I love this this keyword, and I think it's a really fun, interactive way. It's not 100%. There's a little bit of RNG there, so you're not always getting the same thing. So I like this. And then Astalor, look, Astalor is still going. It's in 25.5% of the decks right now. I told you it was going to be one. If there's one card, one legendary card that you were going to craft, Astalor would be one. It's still there. It's going to be there for a few, at least a few months, if not more. Burrow Buster, great card. This card I'm seeing so much. Not only do you get the fun excavate stuff, but you get to go ahead and rush. And a 6/4 rush for 5 mana, and also gives you that excavating treasure, which could potentially be something super good that'll help you swing your win to what it is. It's a great card. And then Reno, Lone Ranger, doesn't shock me as well. Ignis doesn't shock me. Sir Finley. Sir Finley is in a lot of decks that I'm playing right now. I didn't use him a lot in Festival of Legends. I didn't use him a lot in Titans, but now he's coming back, and that's a cool card to be playing. Amber Whelp doesn't surprise me whatsoever. Amber Whelp is, if you have 1 or 2 dragons in your hand, in your deck or what have you, if you're holding one of them, you can do 3 damage to anything. It's not bad, plus it's super cheap. It's common, 3 mana, 3/3, and then it actually does 3 damage. And then ETC. ETC is another one. If you do not have ETC, you definitely should consider getting ETC, because you can throw 3 additional cards in your deck that you don't have room for. That could be utility. Rust-Rot Viper, something with silence. There's so much that you can do there. You could even put another piece of tech in there based on what you're seeing in the next couple of games or the next rank floor, and then you can just swap it out with different cards if the rank floor change has made you see different types of deck. I love this card. So that's about it. That's really all I have to say. This is the first week. This will change. That's what I like about Hearthstone, is it's always changing, always adapting. I will be doing this video as things changes. There's a weekly series every Wednesday night, depending on the situation or what's going on. But I like doing this. I like talking about Hearthstone. I like talking about the meta. I like talking about these cards, and I like talking with you all. So have a great week, and I will see you in the next video.